Stan and Francine are the craziest couple I've ever met. They actually faked their deaths just to catch vultures. When the pair got stranded in a hot air balloon, Stan pulled down his pants to collect seawater, then used the balloon stove to desalinate it and caught the fresh water in champagne bottles. That's how he solved their water problem. Next, Stan used threads from his clothes as fishing line, leftover strawberries as bait, and turned Francine's earring into a hook to make a makeshift fishing rod, and he actually pulled off solving their food issue. To save his strength, Stan dumped all the small chores on Francine, making sure he'd have enough energy if danger hit. Right then, a vulture dive bombed the balloon. Stan roared and charged at it, and they ended up cooking the bird. Francine cranked up the fire too high though, and it exploded violently, sending the balloon rocketing into the sky all the way into outer space. The lack of oxygen knocked both of them out. When they woke up, they'd crash landed in a desert, and that's when the rescue team found them. One of the guys asked if they were the Stan and Francine, and Francine just said, "See? Travel insurance does matter." Stan and Francine started bickering right after, but then they realized they only stopped fighting when they're overcoming trouble together. The rescue leader told them they were lucky to have landed in Australia 1 more kilometer, and they'd be in the deadly no man's land. Hearing that, Stan and Francine looked at each other, ditched the rescuers, and headed straight into the deep desert.
Stan and Hayley were getting closer and closer. Hayley was super emotionally unstable. Anytime a guy dumped her, she'd do something terrible. She'd made a habit of it ever since. Luckily, Stan always managed to stop her in the nick of time, but Francine thought he was being too harsh.
Shoot her in the face!
Before long, she witnessed a shocking scene that completely shattered her worldview, but Stan swore he was innocent.
Yeah, I stuck my fingers in there.
Suddenly, another Stan appeared. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. This guy was Stan's clone. Thanks to Hayley's daddy issues, they actually hit it off. While Stan was thrilled, Francine felt totally weirded out. The two of them were getting along great, but watching the voluptuous Francine, Bill, the clone, got an idea. Pretty soon, he disguised himself as Stan.
Wait! I gotta put the meatloaf in the oven first. You go upstairs and sing while she boils.
Just in the nick of time, the real Stan showed up and put a stop to everything.
Alright, baby, hop in.
This made Stan so mad that he ended up killing Bill. To calm Hayley down, Stan disguised himself as Bill. He planned to humiliate her until she broke up with him. Unfortunately, when Bill suggested a threesome, Hayley wasn't upset at all. She actually went for it.
What?
Yeah, you do her, then I can do you, then I'll take a turn with her while you watch.
Stan completely lost his mind. Stan and Roger got sewn together, and this let them cash in on each other's strengths. Roger could help Stan meet his boss's demands, while Stan chipped in to assist Roger with his auditions. But halfway through, Stan went back on his word and refused to help Roger with auditions anymore. Roger dug his heels in, though, so the two started tussling for control of their shared body. During the fight, Roger grabbed Stan's bladder to humiliate him, and Stan shot back with a punch. In the chaos, they stumbled down the stairs and ended up on the train tracks. When Stan woke up, he caught his reflection in the mirror and demanded to be split from Roger. They'd been sewn together because their earlier argument had caused a car crash, and then they got run over by a train. Doctors had no choice but to connect them. Seeing their constant bickering, Francine finally came clean. The suturing could have been avoided. She just hoped this would make them get along better. The doctor also tried to talk them out of separating, but they stood their ground. In the end, the doctor performed the surgery, and they got separated just as they wanted. After the separation, Stan drove home. On the way, he spotted a familiar car, which brought back the memory of the first time he met Roger. Back then, Stan had risked his life to save Roger and promised to take care of him. They chatted all the way, getting to know each other, and Stan even bared his soul to Roger about his secrets, laughing the whole way home. Thinking back on that experience, Stan lifted his shirt to check his surgery scar. He immediately turned around to look for Roger, but his car was already gone, yet Roger was still waiting right there. Stan stepped forward to apologize, and Roger forgave him, admitting he'd been wrong too. Finally, the two went home together to start a new life.